Big up, big up, big up. Welcome everyone to the 12th Man Show. Hope that everyone's well and good on this Wednesday. A bunch of news or I guess you could say a bunch of news, but some big news in Liverpool's circumstances, and there's certainly been news that have been building about possible contract extensions, about possible exits by certain board members. A lot of stuff to do and talk about. Yes, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that. Uh, I know. Pick up Lee and pick up. Talk about the sale, obviously, of or a percentage of this of the ownership um, for for Liverpool Football Club. We'll see if it happens, see if it doesn't. There's some real questions to be made about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I know some people are for it. You know, we'll talk more about it though. Anyways, I hope everyone is well. A bunch of topics to really get into tonight. I guess tonight isn't going to be just about chasing transfer rumors or about reacting to some of the latest headlines, I guess, but it is about trying to interact with everyone out there, get a good read as to what they're feeling about this upcoming season, because we are technically in the preseason. That is something that I think is massively, massively important to recognize. We are in the preseason, and that means that we are one step closer to the start of our season. We only have 3 games. We have a couple of games after the American tour, but we have 3 games that are going to happen in America. We spoke about that yesterday. It's going to be very interesting to see how we transition and how this team makes the pivot from Arnie slot or slot ball, and also how we really recognize which players are actively going to be contributors on this team. Big, big names that are going to be definitely open to finding their way into the lineup. I'm sure that there's some people that think that, some deserve to be in this lineup. Some people have some of these players going out on loan already. But yeah, it should be a case where we definitely find out who's really willing and able to make the sacrifice it takes to be a part of this team. Now that I'm sure, I haven't seen the video. I was going to watch it before I got on live today, but I know there is a video of the training that they're going through, and the video of what some of what is the new intensely laden training sessions, as opposed to the low impact training sessions, as Brian brought up when he joined us with Arnie Slot Ball. So it should be very interesting to see what we end up getting as a result. I think it's going to be good because I'm looking forward to bringing back the kind of football that I like to see, that I thought was entertaining to see, that definitely made me prideful to see our team play, and it's something that I'm looking forward to. But we're going to ask some big questions tonight. First, should Liverpool already be planning for life after our captain, Virgil van Dijk? Second, has Jeremy Jacquet's arrival genuinely solved Liverpool's center back depth? We're looking at going into this preseason with youth academy players trying to make a stand, and make a pathway towards playing. But obviously, we know that we're not expecting any youth academy player to per se to be the answer to our needs when it comes to our center half role. It's going to be either Jeremy Jacquet, eventually maybe Leone, and we certainly have a case where we all know that Joe Gomez is a fantastic footballer, just a player that unfortunately is unavailable too often than not. But Is there still another signing out there? Are we going to get the Ukrainian player? I believe not Ukrainian player that plays for PSG, or are we going a former Bournemouth player, former Iraola player, or are we going to go and maybe get Bastoni? I don't know with some of the legal problems that he's going through, if that's going to actually happen. Are we going to go and get a name that's maybe not on our radar? It's a real big question. Or do we just say that Jeremy Jacquet is going to be our starting center half? Before we dive in, I want to hear from all of you. Definitely, hopefully, you hit the like button. That's just my simple entry fee is just a like when you go through the door. So and join me on the jet or the yacht, or maybe at the facilities wherever we're at. Hopefully, you've done that already. So let's begin with our captain, my captain, your captain, Virgil van Dijk. I think that I've been seeing a lot of articles. I've been already hearing a lot of talk. Even last season, I heard a lot of talk from rivals, but unfortunately, more so from even our brethren about Virgil van Dijk. One thing that's bothered me over the last week, I would say, is that I've seen people asking, should Liverpool sell Virgil van Dijk? Now, for me, I think that's the wrong question. And what I mean by that is we're never going to get back, quote unquote, the value that he brings to this team. We're never going to get back at this age and this stage of his career. We're never going to get the value that we think is going to be accumulated to or situated towards what we value the player at. Liverpool have announced they're looking to keep the player. They're not looking to sell Virgil. I'm not trying to say that we're in the market of trying to sell Virgil van Dijk. But what I am saying is there are people that are already looking beyond Virgil as our center half. I think eventually I would love to see our center halves be Jeremy Jacquet and Giovanni Leone holding it down, center halves for us. Boom, done and done. Leone plays left, Jacquet plays the right, and we're good. But there's going to be time for that to evolve, because we're going to have to see how Leone makes it back from injury. We're going to have to see how Jeremy Jacquet makes the transition from French football to English football. And the sheer fact of it is that Virgil hasn't said he wants to leave, which is fantastic to hear, because I know there were talks about him maybe going to AC Milan. Big up Eric, big up Lee, big up Hylor, big up Red Armchair Supporter. By the way, I didn't say hello to you guys in the very beginning of the show. But Virgil hasn't said he wants to leave. Reports suggesting Liverpool would listen to offers, I think, is just pure speculation rather than established fact. I'm sure you wouldn't turn off your ringer, but you would certainly have to have a absolutely knock you out of the water style offer for it to be you to listen. So instead of chasing rumors, I'd rather discuss the football. I think why I'm saying I think it's the wrong question is that I think the real question, can Liverpool build a defense that no longer depends entirely on Virgil van Dijk? And that is my real question. Can Liverpool build a defense that no longer depends entirely on Virgil van Dijk? We've got to set up the foundations of that right now, because that's a very different conversation. And what I mean by that is I don't mean that we, for the same reasons of what I said about Mo Salah. I know some of the things I said about Mo Salah were were very much looked as being controversial, as I was saying, that we should look to phase out Mohamed Salah as being our go-to, as being our everything facilitates through Salah in that right wing role. But Virgil, when it comes to our defense, is still Liverpool's defensive leader. He's still an absolutely outstanding defender. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, defender in the world still. But what separates him isn't just his ability to win duels, aerial duels, and such. It's everything that happens before the duel, the placing of other players around him and the likes. Because if you watch him closely, he's constantly talking. And that's the thing about some of these critics and comments and that are so quick to criticize Virgil, as if he's just sitting around just like, picking daisies. He's constantly talking. He's moving the line. He's pointing to where players got to get. He's organizing. He's helping teammates avoid problems before they even develop. He's trying to instill his leadership. And that's why when you do hear players refer to Virgil, because I did see when I saw an interview of Rio, and Rio was asked to give a one-word answer as to what attribute or what do you think of when you hear this name. What's the word you think of? And the word he thought about when Virgil van Dijk's name came up was leader. Leadership is the hardest quality to replace. We've watched massive amounts of our leadership core leave. Rabah, gone. Mohamed Salah, gone. Players before that, gone. There's very few senior leaders that are left on this team. And that's why Jeremy Jacquet's arrival is so interesting. Liverpool haven't just signed another defender. They've, I think, signed someone that this club is going to have to clearly believe in. We have to clearly believe that Jeremy Jacquet is the future, the next generation of our defense. Him and Leone have to be the poster boys of our defense. Because we've signed someone that not only the club believes in that case, because we wouldn't have spent the money that we did, but athletically, he looks ready. He's quick. He's aggressive. He's comfortable carrying the ball. I think he's exactly what Iraola wants in a defender. There's a difference between having talent and commanding a Premier League backline. That's obvious. That's going to take time, familiarity, synergy. It's a real question of how long that's going to take. But that's why, in my opinion, Liverpool shouldn't rush the succession. Jeremy Jacquet's got to learn from Virgil van Dijk. Leone's got to learn from Virgil van Dijk. You do not replace him overnight, and nor should we even be discussing that. The contract discussion should be viewed through, I guess, a different lens. I'd go as far as to say, because this is where this is leading. Virgil van Dijk's in the last year of his contract. If Liverpool offer Virgil another year, let's say, it shouldn't simply be because of everything he's done. It should be because he can still help Liverpool become stronger after he's gone. I think helping Jacquet's development, helping Iraola establish his defensive structure, helping the next leader possibly emerge in that back line. I think that's smart planning. That's not being sentimental. Before everyone says, "Oh, you're being too sentimental." That's being smart and utilizing what it is. and that is having a player of his stature. So I'll ask you in the chat, since you're my co-host today. Yes or no? Would you extend Virgil van Dijk for another season? Because now is the best time to opt to get that. If you wait and wait, eventually the player is going to think that maybe he needs to figure out his future elsewhere. Or do you believe it's time to begin the transition immediately? Pick up Rasta Crab in the house. Pick up. Would you extend, or would you believe, or would you say that this is the time to transition from Virgil van Dijk? Red Armchair Supporter says, yes, extend. Right. Tell me why, too. Tell me why you believe he should get another year. And I'm only saying a year. I'm not saying extend 2, 3, 4 years from, We've seen center halves play at exceptional levels for lengthy periods. It does look like he is falling off a cliff. I just think you can't move on from a player of his stature and of his IQ, football IQ and the likes before you really think about where and what is the foundation that he leaves. Because for me, this isn't about replacing a player. It's about replacing influence. It's about, Liverpool can buy a center back. That's not the issue. Buying another Virgil van Dijk is a completely different challenge. That's why I think the succession plan matters just as much as the transfer plan. So I'm extending him for another year. I am definitely extending him for another year. And I know that by then you hope that Jacquet and Leone's evolution is at a point where they can take over. Maybe bring in another player, bring another name out there that's emerged, maybe that could do the job, but you definitely have to find a way to keep Virgil van Dijk a part of this team going forward. Now, I do have, who could be the future leader of Liverpool? I think that's the big question. So I'll leave this as you can leave it in you can leave it in the comments. I'll leave this question. I'll make up this question for you. I know Crab is for instance, I know Crab is very, very high on Lacroix, the French player from that plays for Crystal Palace. Good player. Not Virgil van Dijk, but a good player. I'll put this some options here. Because I know that this was being asked. I mean, I just think it's also about the leadership value that we're going to be needing and seeing. So if you can put this in the comment section after the show, if you want to put it in now, fantastic. But if you can't put it in the comment section, it helps the algorithm, it helps us grow in the community. So I'll ask you that. Well, I know that um, my question is, are you confident? Are you confident with what we have? Are you confident with what we have? Because the four center halves that we have, I think, are fantastic, but yet doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have. We only have three technically right at the moment because Leone, even though he's on tour, I believe, is not physically capable of playing, especially at Premier League football. He's not capable of doing it just yet. It's a massive injury. I believe he's going to bounce back, but is he ready? No. Oh, Abdul, I think you just ruined Crab's afternoon or morning. Actually, is for him, I believe. Or no, it's afternoon. It's afternoon, I believe. I think he just ruined his morning if that's the case. Let me see what you guys. Before I go into the next subject, I'll see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Um, don't know. Need to see them play. Way too many hypotheticals without having seen a minute of them play football. Don't you think? I don't know if that's regarding what my choice is saying um that we all know how Joe Gomez plays. Joe Gomez is one. I think Joe Gomez is is arguably one of the best center half pairings that Virgil van Dijk has ever had. I think with Joe Gomez, you have a player that can play center half and also be able to create is capable of being a more than capable passer from his role. Unfortunately for us, we're very light on. I mean, Simicast coming back is fantastic because then you don't have to necessarily rely on Joe Gomez as a left half or left center back. Joe Gomez doesn't necessarily have to be a right back if you don't necessarily need him to be right back with Connor Bradley and with even Calvin Ramsey if he gets a chance, maybe. But who knows? If we do that case, then if we stick to trying to focus Joe Gomez on just being a center half rather than having him be a utility player for every role in that back line, could be a case where you start Joe Gomez and then you platoon him with to keep him fresh and available. You platoon him with Jeremy Jacquet and eventually Leone as a player as well. I just don't want to see Virgil van Dijk playing in the FA Cups and the League Cups and such. I just don't want to see him being the case, utilized in that case. So there. A lot of different comments being dropped in there. I'm trying to keep up with everyone's comments. Gomez's ability doesn't worry anyone, surely. Just his fitness, says Lee Wiskett. Yeah, I agree with you on that. In terms of players, heck no. We need backup ASAP. We have been sitting on our hands, says Rasta Crab. What's something else about Dom? Pick up KJ. He was on the panel with me just earlier. We're chopping up about cartoons at the end of the show. Iraola has proven he can not just work with, but also improve young defenders and center backs. That I agree with. That's a very, very, very important and well thought out. Because the whole reason why we're even talking about this Ukrainian center half is because of the work that Iraola helped him with in his development, as opposed to, if anything, we've seen him go to a very comparable coach in Enrique, and in that system, he hasn't really blossomed when it comes to his development and his performances. So I agree with that. We can't in 2026 still be talking about Gomez being any kind of a starter at LFC. Sorry, but Gomez, bit player at best, says Rasta Crab. Um, let's see. I'm trying to, are you saying? I think he might. I think KJ's saying he thinks that Iraola is going to cook. Maybe, I don't know. Um, Virgil van Dijk should be rested. Um, Agree with that. VVD should be rested well this season. Hence, we need another seasoned center back. I think Joe Gomez is your season. I think Liverpool's going to go with Joe Gomez being our season center back. That's why I'm trying to, I guess, lighten the impact of what is going to be the real future of this club. I think that you're going to look at it as, or I think a lot of what you're seeing with the setup is you're going to see a team that certainly if the right center half for the right price is available, they will make the move. There's a lot of years left on the deal with the Ukrainian center half at PSG, and Liverpool reportedly won a loan deal with the option to buy, as opposed to bringing him outright and just bring him through a transfer. So that's at least the reports are out there saying that. We are linked with him. Yes, we are, KJ. Yes, we are linked with them. I think sometimes some of the things, I guess, and we've opened talks with PSG to or increase. I say open talks. We've sent out inquiries to PSG for the availability and for the possibility of bringing the player in. The player is apparently reportedly looking for a possible move since PSG hasn't necessarily worked out for him. If he stays for PSG, he's happy and can't and will continue on. But I know that he is possibly looking at moving on and making a transition. He hasn't necessarily had the best starting or opening to it at all. Oh, shout out to Dean, by the way. Big up, Dean. Big up. Yeah, bring up a good thing. If you haven't, I'm sure you have. Fam Zone TV is definitely, I would say, it's one of the stations or channels now that I appreciate more in our community, because a lot of times in the community, you know, unless you are a bigger, more heavily subscribed to channel, they don't you don't interact with the smaller channels. But Fam Zone has definitely been cool with Dean at the helm to create a bond or a relationship with this channel. So I appreciate him doing that and being gracious to have me join his Wednesday forum. So we got Reese and Ish and obviously KJ, and then Dean. It's an all-star panel, certainly. So I appreciate being a part of it and representing as best I can. If we could get Barney, it would be nice. The question has he the right profile for our club? I don't know by the sense of like the profile portion of it. I mean, like right now, it's more so he certainly has the profile for a Iraola system. So I think that that answers maybe part of your question. Um, he has a lot of ability. We all know that he's pretty young. I think he's only like 23 years old or something like that. Um, he's a he's very very important. Um, I'll pick up KJ. Pick up. We all know who's the kingmaker. KJ is the kingmaker. The K stands for king. So there you go. That's what it stands for KJ. Um, but I take I take that every player we are looking have to have some serious pace, a high line with quick transition. High lore says quick transition, meaning remember under Klopp demands not only a sharp and quick mind, but speed as well. That's a well spoken out point. High lore, I agree. I was talking this out on FamZone, um, and I know I've brought this up before. I think I got into it with, or got into this conversation with when Brian joined a couple days ago, and again, I don't. I it's I'm a sometimes I speak just from my heart and from my own tactical mind. I know that I do my research as to how Iraola is going to possibly set up something with our team. I'm going to do a show on that too, with what I believe is going to be kind of the setup for what Iraola is going to do. But when it comes to Liverpool, I am trying to definitely see us do something innovative. And what I'm by innovative is maybe take it back. I know people don't necessarily like going back, but sometimes if you go back, if you know, back to basics, you can sometimes move yourself forward in progression. And what I wouldn't mind seeing have happen is I'm not necessarily saying that Rio should be a starter. Let's not go that far. But what I am saying is I would like to see him play more often this season. Um, we're going to definitely need a player to fill the role of playing the majority of the time, though. But I wouldn't mind seeing him play in a role. Now, if we get Barcola, fantastic. If we get Ryan, fantastic. If we get Diamande on some hope wing and a prayer, fantastic. But Endrick, I don't know whoever you guys are thinking of that can play that role, fantastic. But what I am emphasizing is I do want to see, I think I do want to see us have a team that is able to stretch the pitch, to utilize the width of the pitch primarily, to open up the middle so that we can start utilizing our strikers like strikers, not having them play false nines, not having them have to track back to the back line. I'm talking about being able to poach, being able to really be able to be on the front foot. And I think, and also press, obviously, and press the issue up front, but also press. And that's going to take, if we're going to have having a wide open system when it comes to our players, it's going to take a locked in Frimpong, a locked in Kirkes doing what they do best, which is bomb forward, which is going and involving themselves with their pace and power. It's going to involve having a left winger and a right winger that look to involve themselves in facilitating more than getting goals. I know that's not going to be something that people want to hear, but it's the reason why, again, like I said, um, I've been campaigning on bringing Rio to the right side. I know I might be alone in that. This might be the first time you heard someone really even suggest doing that for Liverpool at least. I know he does it for England, and that's even more reason why I'm thinking, he has some affiliation or some connection to that side. Um, but bringing out that now, KJ brought up a great point about how it can limit your players in the sense of if you have a right-footed player, um, then you know that he's going to tend to go and use that byline and try to go around as opposed to go or cut inside. And I say the same for a left-footed player that is um, left-footed player that's on the right and the right-footed player that's on the left. You automatically pretty much know he's going to cut in instead of use that byline. And I think that that's why, there's positives to both. It could be a case where if you're trying to do that, like I don't know if Cody necessarily relates or would transition well to the right side. Let's not get it twisted, because I know that Cody is a player that tends to like to cut in to the right, cut inside, and get his shot off. But is he going to become all of a sudden a facilitator of the ball? I doubt it. So he would be maybe one of the loose uh, differences or the loose situations that you have on the left side. Someone that has a right foot but plays on the left side. But oh wow, big up John Conway, big up. Long time no see. Hope that you're well, my friend. My red. Definitely long time friend and long time supporter of the channel, John Conway. Shout out to you. Hope you're well. But you can tell me again in the comments why I'm wrong or why maybe you believe I have a point. I think you're talking about, let's see. Let me see what your earlier comment was about Kwanzaa. I think Kwanzaa won't be activated this season. I think first off, the buyback clause kicks in next season, not this season. So, or this next summer, not this summer. So it's 2027 that buyback clause kicks in, and that's when we could utilize it. So I don't think if we were to buy him back now, we'd have to buy him back at whatever they deem as being the price. But at least there is a buyback clause that's not we get first offers or first out offers. I think there's an actual set price that is associated with the buyback clause of Kwanzaa. Some people want Kwanzaa back, some people don't. Some people want him back, some people don't. I don't mind if we go back for Kwanzaa. I thought Kwanzaa was a good player. And I think he's matured. I'm hoping that he keeps that level of maturity and looks at it as an opportunity to have not only a second go in England, but also have a better go at it in England with maybe a coach that isn't going to hang him out to dry the way that our last coach did. But I do think that we're going to see what we're going to get out of some of these guys this preseason. Who is it in the preseason that you can tell me in the chat? Who in the preseason are you most anticipating see play? Like, as in, who is it that you want to see really have a breakout preseason to maybe create not only an opportunity, but maybe amount to being more time on the pitch or maybe even as a starter? Who is it that you guys think? Everyone knows that my choice is Trainioni. I know that he right now. KJ mentioned that he is possibly going to get the short end of the stick, when it comes to either whether Bichetic or him go out on loan. It looks like it's going to be more of like it looks like Trenioni might be the one that does go out on loan. I hope that's not the case. I don't agree with that, and I'm also I'm more of a person that believes in. Um, I personally believe in the way that Klopp believes in development. He wasn't a very strong promoter of loaning players out. He didn't really believe wholeheartedly in loaning players out. And what I mean by that is, if you look it up, um, he's spoken on the fact that he prefers a player to stay with the team rather than be loaned out, because that way, the youth academy is normally a mirror of what this senior team is going to be. And it also allows for, if you do get to train at least with the senior team, you do get a concept of what it's going to take to be fitness wise to be a part of the team. You're going to get an idea of what it's going to take to be what schemes and the likeness that they run. And when you are part of the, obviously when you're here, if circumstances call on it, you could be the next man up. Who knows? So, as much as I understand, some people want Bichetti to go out on loan. Some people have said um, that obviously Trey Neone could maybe go out on loan. I'm not. I'm not of that cloth. I'm more of the cloth that thinks that I'd rather see those players stay. They can get the synergy by playing with by the players and the teammates and the camaraderie that grows amongst the team by being here and not being on loan, playing in some place that you're only going to play 6 months, maybe a year. I'd rather see them grow with this team here. I'd rather see them grow with the commonality and familiarity of each other on this system and with their teammates here. And I just think that that's a massive I guess contradiction to some of the way that some people think out there. But that's just my opinion. I know some have other options or some other things that they believe in. I couldn't agree with you more, Mark A. Shout out Mark A, by the way. Shout out, big up, and Scouts Adam in the house. Big up, both of you. I think Trenioni hasn't had a chance. I'm looking at it as, if you give Trenioni a chance, I'm hoping that he could be the breakout star of this season, or breakout, and letting that breakout player of our preseason. I'm hoping, because he's gonna get time in the preseason. I'm hoping that he could get some real opportunities to show his abilities. I think he's an excellent passer. I think that he is capable of passing from deep, and I'm hoping that that is not only looked at and appreciated, but also capitalized on. I think KJ, you're right about that. I think Trey could be utilized in that Grav role. And what exactly this is why I say I like KJ. Thinking exactly like I say. Trenioni needs to be here because I would like to see him play in these League Cup games. I'd like to see him play in the FA Cup games. I'd like to see him start, not just play. I would like to see him start in those games. And again, I'm not saying Trenioni is going to be an automatic starter for us next season, this upcoming season. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that he could be a player that could possibly create relief for us in that six or that pivot role for Grav. And if it means split the minutes with Bichetti, cool. If it means figuring out a way to maybe play Bichetti and Trey Neone in the pivot in a League Cup game, I'm okay with that. I am. I would like to see them be able to utilize some players. And of course, I want silverware, but I would like to see them be able to utilize players and get some real experience under their legs. Pause. I don't know that one on for you to pause or not, but this isn't a really pause channel, so but all the same. I said that coming up. Sorry about that. Um, what were we saying? What were we saying? Training match. I mean, Trey, a Prem loan like Coventry would be good, but only if it's Prem. Exactly. I mean, like I don't want him to go to. I don't like it when I know championship level is obviously and you're talking about a championship team that just moved up to the Prem. I get that the championship is at such a high level that at times it can emulate some of the intensity that you're going to see in the Prem. But often is the case is that, I don't know if it progresses your talent enough. I really, really don't. I mean, like, I really don't. It's the reasons why, like, I would have liked. I'm not saying Ben Doak was the truth or something like that, but I would have like, I just thought that Ben Doak could have utilized more of being a part of the team as opposed to um, doing what he had to do on loan elsewhere. Not saying again, not saying he's going to be the replacement for Mohamed Salah or any of the likes, but it would have been nice to have seen him being able to refine his talents with the team as opposed to at a championship team. Um, Oliver James says Trey has been around the team a good few years now. Should have been getting more time. It's mad because Gilberto Mora for Mexico is in the World Cup is just 17 years old. I am very very bullish on bringing Gilberto Mora to the team. If you really really think about it, if you really really think about it, Gilberto Mora is a player that obviously has talent. Unfortunately, because of his age being 17, he will not be allowed to join the team until he turns 18. I'd have to look up when that is, but I know that I I last year, like a year ago, because I this is FM 26 that I have. I Gilberto Mora was one of the players, one of the wonder kids that I actually put a cheeky transfer in for. Didn't have to spend a lot of money for him. Got him relatively on the cheap, and but he couldn't make the move until he turned 18. So he had to stay in Mexico. Um, he only doesn't need to go on loan. In Brian's opinion, Iraola will need a big squad. I agree with that, and I think that if anything, you can tell me if you think different, Brian, or anyone else in the chat. When it comes to players like Bichetic, like Neoni, uh, obviously like Rio, are you not very, very interested or intrigued to see what Iriola can do in their development? Considering we've seen what he's done with other players, Simeone and the likes, like as in Semenyo, excuse me, Semenyo, and Zabrini, Zabarni, excuse me, getting all these names wrong. Like as in Hoyson, like as in he's developed players pretty well, pretty well, and that is why I'm excited and interested to see what he will do with the opportunity with a incredibly talented playing pool. There's players like Will Wright that I'm excited to see blossom possibly under his tutelage. Um, I'm excited to see what he can do with Jeremy Jacquet. I'm excited to see if he can get a measure out of Frimpong, who I know is not young, but I mean, in the sense of youth academy or something like that. But I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do with those kinds of players because he has shown that he has done well when had the opportunity in Bournemouth in a club that was a selling club as opposed to a buying club. And they weren't really going out and buying big names and bringing them in. They were a selling club that bring in young talent, develop them, and then try to sell them for a higher price, similar to what you see in Brighton. I mean, they sold a lot of players. So, and a lot of good players for a lot of good money. A lot of good money. All right. So throwing him to the Wolves. I don't know if that means throwing him to. Does that mean throwing him to Wolverhampton? Do you guys trust? I mean, like, do you trust in that Iraola will get good work out of these players or good work out of these youth academy players? I do. Do you though? It's a real question. Do you feel like this is going to be a good learning experience that we'll see with this team? I think we will. Um, I was going to talk about whether we thought 4 players was enough, but I'll ask you this: what does Liverpool actually need next? I'll throw it out there like this to the chat. Summer is upon us. I get that, or the preseason's upon us. But with the question mark still lingering, what player do you prioritize? And I mean associate a name with the player position, but what position and player do you prioritize as your first acquisition? Richard Hughes gives you a ring, says, I need your help. Who do we go for next? Because that's what this discussion that we're having keeps bringing me back to this. Whenever Liverpool are linked with another player, supporters immediately ask, do we need him? And I think that's the wrong starting point. I think the better question is, what problem are we actually trying to solve? Because if Liverpool sign another center back, for instance, that's one solution. If we sign a defensive midfielder, I know some of you want to sign a defensive midfielder, that's another solution. They could, but in the sense, if you sign a DM or you sign a center half, in my opinion, you are trying to how best to put it. If you sign a defensive midfielder or whether you sign a center half, basically, you could be solving the exact same problem in a completely different way. We need a reassurance in our defense. Those are 2 major keys in our defense. So when you think about it, how often do center backs look exposed because nobody in midfield has slowed the attack down, for instance? That's what happened last season. Defender got blamed, center halves got blamed. The replay obviously focuses on the mistake. But if you rewind the move another maybe 5 seconds, where was the pressure on the ball? Who stopped the pass from going into space? Who tracked the runner? All these things are so connected that a weak midfield makes a back line look worse. Strong midfield makes an average defense look outstanding because they don't have to do work. It's so simple. I used to always think, and when as a goalkeeper, I would always think that I loved the work that the back line would do for me rather than relying on me to do the work for them. I know I could hold my own and contribute my share, but I would have liked to have seen 0 shots every game because the defensive line in front of me is doing their work. The midfield is controlling the midfield, so therefore the defensive line doesn't have to do their work. they are able to be safety nets as opposed to last defenses. But if you look at it, I see some of you have answered some of yours. Let me see what you guys are saying before I even continue on what I want to say. Brian saying he will Anfield Irishman. I'm saying Brian, but Anfield Irishman. He will improve players who can be improved, but he can't work miracles. The talent has to be there, but the mentality is key. For Red Armchair Supporter, he's saying that we need a right back and a winger. Mark A is saying we need a right wing. What is Oliver? Is he saying, or you think we can get Yamal? Let me make sure that's what you're saying. I mean, Yamal is just 19 years old too. Hopefully, I get what you're making. He's 19-year-olds too. Hopefully, Trey can get more time on the field, especially with more of our standout youngsters throughout the next seasons. Once our team is rebuilt and firing, agree with you on that, Oliver. Hello to you, by the way. I don't know if I said hello to you, Oliver, but I am now. Just in case. Iraola said his words in the press conference. We definitely need to sign a winger. Says Hyler, right wing and right wing, 6, a center back and a forward is what Scouse Adams is saying. Since Connor apparently is mentioned as being months away from return, we still have this challenge on the right back. I don't know if we have a challenge per se. I'd be interested to see if Calvin Ramsey gets a real opportunity or not. Just to be not necessarily a starter, but at least to be an option, as so that we don't have to rely on Joe Gomez. What do you think of Manu Kone? He's a good player. He'd be a good choice to bring in as a center back, a DM. Excuse me. He'd definitely be a good choice to bring in as a DM. He could possibly rely on having the ability to allow for Grav to do what he did last season, but not be connected to it being that he's reliant on playing defense. Now, with his role, he'd be able to maybe go forward. Maybe it'd open up a little bit more of what you could find or see happen with McAllister. Hyler says a winger seems to be the most urgent need. Did he put in some players? I didn't see AR's players. Shout out to AR too, by the way. See where you put. I don't see what the players were that AR put in. But we do need good players. Definitely need good players. I just think if Isak gets injured, we will be in trouble. So we need another forward. Yes, like I said, Mora is not a player that's going to immediately be a part of this team. He'd be part of the future. There's players I was interested in the Moroccan being a player not for forward but for DM, but apparently even he is not going to. He's not looking at maybe another deal or another destination, and also on top of that, it was associated. He wouldn't even be an immediate transfer. He'd be like a transfer that happens a year from now. So I don't think that would be a good idea either. Okay. Well, Barcola could be a player. Maybe see him open up a little thing, open up something of front line. I know Hyler is very bullish on this guy. He is very, very bullish on this guy. But I have to do more research on him. I don't know too much about him as a player. I have to do a little more research. But you guys told me what the position was, but you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me who was the player. I think only one or two of you told me who the player was that you'd actually make the move for. Like I said, you had Marquet saying a right wing. You had Red Armchair supporter saying a right back and a winger. Who is the player though? Who is the player that answers a lot of those questions or answers whatever position that you prioritized? Who is that player? Who is that player? I always wonder if PSG are trying to create a monopoly on wingers. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Koundé is a good shout. He's a good shout. I know Barcelona was very interested in maybe moving him on, and then you'd have a player that could play not only as a center half, but also as a right back if necessary. That could be a good shout. Could be a very, 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 very good shout. I guess it comes down to center half or DM. Because I mean, if you keep in probably defensive midfielder is probably more likely the emphasis. If you're going to put Trey or Stefan on loan, or maybe both on loan, that becomes definitely big. But I agree with what Brian said earlier, is that we need the depth. I don't think we should be selling players that we don't necessarily need to, for sometimes peanuts on the dollar, or and I don't think that we should be going into a place where our depth gets challenged once again by, having the unfortunate circumstances of injuries occurring, and also having players coming back from injury that we're going to be relying on possibly too heavily. There was a question. There was a question I know a guy asked. Are there any players on freeze that are out there? It's kind of interesting. Very interesting. Do you think, this is off topic, because I just saw something about possibly that Real Madrid's going to make a concerted effort to bring Rodri to Real Madrid. And I know that Rodri is interested in reportedly is interested in making the jump from Manchester City to go live back in Spain and be a part of Real Madrid. With that said, he just won a World Cup. He's back to he was the captain of that team as well. Do you think Manchester City are going to have do you think they're going to have a good year this year, upcoming year, or are they going to fall off a little bit? I was just wondering. That's just an off-topic question. Off-topic question. It's very interesting that that a lot of this talk is being had right now, but City going to be in the mix like us? Okay. The Maresca revolution. I'm hoping it fails miserably. Obviously, I'm sure most of you are hoping the same, but they'll be in the mix. Got you. City top 3. Oh. Pick up, Delonte. Pick up.
Yeah, big up with yourself, 12. Big up everyone who's watching. Educations to everyone, and 12. See the big things, on the Dean's channel. So big up, man. Big up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Big up.
Yeah,
Thanks.
get
Appreciate that.
sorry, just dessert. No, just, you know what I mean anyway. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. We
tongue
all
tied
we all
right
des-
now.
we all deserve a little bit
Yeah, yeah,
of being able to vacation or holiday, as you guys like to call it,
yeah.
on some of our brethren's channels. But yeah, but you know how it is. We're chilling on the yacht here. I see you took
Yeah,
the helicopter in, and
yeah. Briefly, briefly. Yeah, there's a brief helicopter stop, unfortunately, until the weekend.
okay, got you, got you.
Yeah.
We're just talking a little bit about uh oh, okay, there you go. Lalante getting a shout. We do. You need to get to Nolante needs to be definitely utilized on more channels because I think that Nolante brings the truth, sometimes the unwanted truth, the truth that you need to hear. You know that
Yeah,
some people are just too scared to have. That's how it is.
no,
Um,
yeah, sorry, go on, 12.
no, no, no. I was gonna say we've been talking about so many things. We were just talking about. Do you think there's going to be? It was an off-topic question, but do you think City's going to have a fall off? Do you think they're going to have a fall off, especially now that we maybe we get now that the World Cup is over, maybe we get a shocking result of the trial that they've been going through for the last umpteen years. You know, um, maybe we get a little fall off considering it's the transition from Pep to a whole new system. Or not the whole. It is similar, but considering they're from the same. That Maresca's from the Pep cloth, but I mean like as in. Um, it is, maybe we get a different result considering that, we saw what he did with Chelsea, where he had plenty of players, plenty of opportunities.
Um,
Let's fall off.
it's an interesting one, and just first of all, big up everyone in the chat. Big up yourself, KJ. Listen, I watch from afar, KJ. See you doing big things. Are gone, Cage, on certain channels. Yeah, yeah,
He's the
KJ.
kingmaker.
Yeah, he
KJ.
is, isn't it, KJ? Yeah, he's making an impact. And the scene and big up Armchair, High Low, Red Armchair, Whiz Kid. Big up all you, man. All of you, man. Big up all of you, man. It's always good to chat with you guys. Like I said, one thing about our community here on 12th Man, well, 12th Man, is that whether we agree to disagree, we do it. We do it with class. We do it
Mm,
with respect for one another. And as I say, and 12th Man knows what I'm gonna come with. And I think not on certain other channels who go a bit doolally and mad, but we move. But anyway, back to your thing regarding City and Maresca. Again, it's kind of weird because everything is up in the air, and again, and I'm going to refer. People will say Arsenal the favourites, but it's for me. It's a bit like Arsenal are not like they play like them, but they are the France because everyone assumed that France would win this World Cup, and
mm,
when France played Spain, the amount of comments in different forums or even the ITV commentators, like the amount of people dismissed Spain that they're bums. It was just, I was gobsmacked. I was thinking,
mm.
like, do these play even actual ex players? I was thinking, raw. And Spain, do not Spain, ain't Spain a good team? And they got totally smoked France. And again, not some of you probably haven't spoken to you else. You wouldn't know. I didn't think France would win this one. I said this World Cup is open, but it is what it is. So in terms of that, I think the league is wide open. I really do, and I know Arsenal be
So,
fair
so,
into. I know Arsenal with Arteta, who's the experienced one, which is fair enough. He's been there. He's got a settled squad. He's been there. Again, I don't know. And again, I hope I'm proved wrong because I could not stand Arsenal winning the league again, doing a back to back because that
I don't
makes
think
us look.
do you honestly think that
I
they would go
don't.
back?
I don't. But they just at the moment they've got the driver's seat and everything that's in front of them. But I don't think they do. I just think whoever can be consistent. And it's weird because we're in a time where all the managers are young
Mhm.
managers. The tops, it's a crazy time. But like I said, in terms of City, Maresca, he understands the culture. Obviously, under Pep, it's going to be a change. But make no mistake about it, City will be up there. They will be there or thereabouts. It's just the fact that things will change, you know. So, but again,
Mhm.
everything's is interesting. We just have to wait and see. We really do have to wait and see.
Okay. Um, yeah, I think the league is wide open, like you just said. I don't see Arsenal going back to back, simply because uh, I'm hoping it's all things dependent upon. We saw in the World Cup. You noticed in the World Cup there was not haram ball when it came to corners. It wasn't people like as in yes, there were people holding and pushing on occasion, but the referee would shut it down pretty quick.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
and I'm hoping that a we could see a return to that in the league, and I think by that happening, I think you'll see an immensely different Arsenal team that's not able to use their, I'd say, Arsenal settings or Argentina settings. I think, in the sense because I know you mentioned Spain and Argentina. Not many people had Spain winning the World Cup, um, but you still got to recognize the fact that they're a top five team in the world. And I did notice that most people, most people at the end of the World Cup final said that football won when Spain beat Argentina. And I think that why I'm emphasizing that is because I have Argentinian friends and like some of my best friends is Argentinian, so
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
so like he's I know his dad is like Mr. Argentina, like that's all
Yeah, as he would.
there's
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
like
Mm.
as in he's a big River Plate supporter. Like if I brought up Boca, he would he'd kick me out the house type thing. So anyway, the fact is the way that Argentina reacted and at the end of that game somewhat exemplified the way that they went about winning and getting through this World Cup. It kind of emphasized, as in like I kept saying how when I saw Simeone get a start in that semifinal, and even he played in the final too. But when I saw him get a start in the semifinal, I was saying to myself, I already know what settings Argentina is on. They're on the settings of let's get under the skin of Spain. Let's not even play football really at times. Like for instance, that foul on Yamal
Mm.
where the guy was like basically dragging him down by the arm. How that doesn't get a yellow card is incredible. But Argentina already established the fact that they were going to get away with a lot of hijinks already. So they knew that they were going to be able to play the game that they wanted to play. And there's no one better to have gotten kicked off. Enzo, I think, is a terrible person. So it
Mm.
was, you know, I don't know if you saw his comment about English people in general. Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah, they're a bit weird. It's like, but I think it's weird because Paul Pogba said on the pitch they're very nasty. He said off the pitch they're quite nice. They're like Jekyll and Hyde. So
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one. But yeah, some of them they're not taking accountability and excuses. It was disgusting. And you listen, I like Messi. He's my goal. But one thing surprised me, which again he exposes Scaloni, is the way they played because Argentina can play football. They can play if needs be. Don't get it twisted. So, but they got what they deserve. I'm sorry because that was awful. And the fact that he didn't put on Lautaro Martinez, he scored in the last two games, was a bit damning as well. But it was terrible tactics. It was horrible. And listen, Spain got the just to assert, and that's it. That's it. And
I just think that if anyone's wondering what I'm referring to, when he asked about, like, obviously Enzo got kicked out. Enzo's the same player that was on the bus the last time they won the World Cup, saying those
Mm,
horrible things about the French. Okay, the racist remarks that got him in trouble with, returning to England and being a part of having to see one some of his teammates that are part of that English team, but two having to go back and play with just players of color that he was referring to before. But then to but then this time, it wasn't even about it wasn't even about black players. His comments were something about he defended his intent about English by saying everyone who cleans and cooks at our house in London is English, and we really love them. I was like, is that like the I'm not racist because I have a black friend thing or something like, or I have a black employee or something like. Oh my goodness.
yeah, the taps. The taps. I was getting tired of their fans were just disgusting during the World Cup, man. Honestly, man.
No,
They
and I
were.
know that's my point. Do you see what happened
Yeah,
with speed? Like
yeah, I saw that. And there was some other stuff with the Cape Verde threw, I think, what was it? Bottles of urine or something like that, just water or something like that. It's just, yeah, this
Mhm,
disgusting, man. Yeah,
mhm.
honestly, man.
I mean, the guy there was when they were celebrating the fact they just won the World Cup. I forget which player it was, but he's running back to join his teammates, and the Argentinian player punched him in the stomach. I'm
Mm,
like, you are the defending World Cup champions.
yeah.
You're regarded as being you're regarded as being one of the best teams in the world. You have
Mm,
one, if not the best player of all time that plays on your team. And the sheer fact that you have to, like,
goat.
yeah, lower yourself to these levels is beyond crazy. It was so incredibly disappointing because there's the one thing I did see so much of is I saw so many people wearing Messi kits, Messi jerseys, whether it was
Goat.
Barcelona, his
Yeah.
Messi, that aren't Argentinian, but are like, just Messi fans,
Mm,
whether Argentinian jerseys or whether Barcelona jerseys. I saw like a handful of I didn't see really many PSG jerseys with his name on the back of it, but you know, it was a shame. It was. I think it was just like as really Wizkid said. It was a disgrace that the way Argentina, the fans and the team, somewhat represented themselves. You have the entire world looking at you, you know, and you win some, you lose some. But
yeah.
but when you lose with class. Don't
Shit.
be don't go to the point where you went. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Anyhow, mhm. Dark arts football. Yes, it was, Abdul. It was. Pick up,
Mm,
pick up. Um, it's good that you joined the show right now because, like, I had a segment about called Liverpool's most important utility player. Now, I know there's a saying on football that every great squad has one player who makes everyone else's job easier. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that is he's a player that can, like your Milner, who could play almost every role on the pitch. And you know that if something goes wrong or someone pulls up lame, you at least have a player that can give you a solid 7 out of 10 performance. Not saying he's going to be, world class at the role, but I am saying that he's not going to be a deficit at the role. Right armchair supporter saying Jones. Okay,
okay. Good shout.
I,
Come on,
I
Chip.
think that player might be Joe Gomez, not because he's Liverpool's best defender again, but um because he's needed and he has to step up and be available. I know that some people are gonna push back and say, "Oh, well, he's rarely available." he's not guaranteed to start every week. I think that maybe he's starting to accept that. Maybe that's the reason why he hasn't been pushing himself to get a. If he thought that he should be starting and he needs to start, he would have probably pushed himself to be moved on to another team. Whether it doesn't necessarily have to be the level of Liverpool, just another team in general. And there's plenty of teams that would have taken him. But I'm saying I'm saying this about Joe, at least because he's one of the players that I think Iraola can move around the pitch without completely changing the team's identity. I think that flexibility is incredibly valuable. I also think it creates a problem. And this is where I think the problem is. Joe Gomez has become the answer to almost every defensive question. Whether Conor Bradley was injured, you had Joe Gomez. When Virgil van Dijk, who rarely ever gets injured, but Virgil van Dijk was unavailable, or you maybe put him in that role. If Virgil van Dijk needs a partner, he could be in that role. If Jeremy Jacquet's not ready, or Leone's not ready, you could have Joey play as your center half. If let's say Kirkaz is down and you don't want to rely on Simicast, Joe Gomez could be that guy. But Joe Gomez is going to have to be available this season. And that is, unfortunately, where a lot of the whoa, cool your horses, 12th man, is going to come into this conversation. And how important do you think Joe Gomez is to this team? And how do you rationalize that with his availability? Because I have a follow-up question to that too. But how important is Joe Gomez to this team? Or is his unavailability maybe minimized his importance to you, Nalante?
How I feel what we say about his answer, but look, with Joey, he has had injuries. Don't get me wrong, but I think people overblow the promotion because don't forget, there's been times like last season he wasn't played. He was fit. He was on the bench for about 8, 9, 10 games, and then obviously he picked up a niggle and stuff like that. So it really depends how you look on it. You know what I mean? But obviously, people, because he's unfortunately niggles in there, but there's a lot of time he's fit. He's just not used. So I think he's going to be very integral this season because at the end of the day, regardless of the high potential of Leone and Jacquet, they're still babies. They're babies in this league. And VVD is 35, going 30, and he needs some rest. So I think he's going to be, well, again, I could be wrong, but fitness permitted wise, I saw the pic with him training. He looks in good nick, but again, that's anything, isn't it? Anyone could, isn't it? So he's going to be important because we're going to need him. I think he will play quite a bit. You know what I mean? And as I said, I've gone back and forth with certain things, which is just irrelevant. But I won't mention it because it's irrelevant to what you just said. He's a valuable member and he's a good player. And then if he can do certain things squad wise, and if he's fit, like he was for the majority 2 seasons ago, majority of the games, then we'll be better for it.
If Liverpool is going to make a economical acquisition, and you're just talking about Joe Gomez and how, yes, we all understand his availability can sometimes be questionable, but maybe could you circumvent that by bringing in another quality player who is on the free and unfortunately is a former Evertonian and former Citizen, but he has availability questions also, but is finally fit currently. Played well for England, by the way. would you consider bringing in, if John Stones was willing, would you bring John Stones to Liverpool just as an option to maybe figure out as a player that you can, you know, utilize and try to transition Jeremy Jacquet, transition, or platoon with Joe Gomez to help alleviate the issues. Not necessarily rely on John Stones, but utilize as that veteran, as like as we did with like a Matip, a Joel Matip, I call it.
Yeah, Matip, s'il vous plaît. Yeah, s'il vous plaît. That's an interesting one. That's left field. You know what? Free transfer. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Again, he's been picking up knocks and niggles, but that gives us 5. But if he's fit, then you can once in a while, a few Premier games that really and truly we should win. We don't really need PVD. You could rest him. So yeah, I mean, free transfer. I won't be opposed to that. To be honest, I wouldn't be opposed. To be fair, for 2 years, whatever. Then yeah. That's not probably experience. He's a leader. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
And again, I'm not, and you can maybe even figure out a way to maybe, with his experience and because he's such a good center half, maybe you could factor in ways of like, relieving the amount of workload of Virgil van Dijk by utilizing John Stones in that important role when it comes to the center half, and you can maybe do like Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, or Joe Gomez and Stones, and then factor in the Jeremy Jacquet, and then eventually when Leone is fit enough to be able to rotate in to being a full-time center half. Because honestly, are you prepared for a center half partnership of Virgil van Dijk and Jeremy Jacquet as your 2 main center halves?
Me personally, no, but I think that's what I'm going to be the starter. It's the main 2. I think Jacquet, given me a year, bed him in slowly, aka Robertson, aka Fabinho, bed him in slowly in the next season. Well, at the end or whatever, then he can be the main dog. But I wouldn't. But I think that's what they're going to go for. If we start VVD and Jacquet, I think that'd be our first team lineup. That's what I think Iraola would do. But I wouldn't for now. I'll hold off.
Well, then, if Liverpool make no defensive signings this summer, how confident are you in the current back line?
I am a bit nervous. I can't lie. I'm a bit nervous. I cannot lie.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot lie, to be fair. We do need the 5th, or if that's the case, then you're relying on them 10 centre backs we signed all last season, them youngsters. You're relying on one of them because obviously, gotta be honest, Joey, he does pick up niggles there and then. Is he going to stay fit for majority of games? We don't know. People would assume no. BVD is 35 now, going on 36. He's been playing non-stop. He badly needs a rest, and I've said it. And I know the Irishmen disagreed that you can rest him in cup games. He can play every Premier League, but I don't think he needs to play every Premier League game. We're playing a Coventry or something like that. Do we need VVD? Can't we beat VVD? He needs to rest. And then the 2 young bucks, they're inexperienced, like the great potential, but we don't know yet. One of them has got a serious injury, so he won't be starting anytime soon. Leone. Going to take him a while to get back, and Jacquet is great, but he's unknown. Premier League is a different kettle of fish. So yeah, we do need a 5th. We do need one more just to cover all bases.
By the way, I don't understand why KDB never played for Liverpool. Just saw a I can share you the picture.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you saw the picture before?
AD 12.
No, I just because I saw.
No, go for it. You can put it on for the chat. No problem.
Let me see if I can share it with you. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I remember when we were discussing KDB. I mean, when he was for let's say, yeah, I would have minded him. Yeah, I would have for 2 years. I wouldn't have minded him. To be fair, but obviously it worked. But yeah,
No, I think Nathan Ake is kind of. I don't know. I think it's kind of. I think his career is kind of over, but yeah, just Nathan Ake, Virgil, and I guess they're on. Even though that's a Netherlands flag,
yeah.
but I think KDB is driving the boat. I want to say he's driving the boat, but that's them on the boat. He loves hanging out with KDB, man.
Yeah, it's hard.
Should have talked to him. Should have said, or maybe it wasn't. I don't think he's driving the boat. Should have talked to him. Said, "Hey, come on over."
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Come on, man.
Right?
Yeah. Used to be rivals, now we're partners.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's how it could be.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. What WizKid is saying. That is true because that was probably the plan. But yeah, Ibu decided for whatever reason it didn't work out. Now he's at, and yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's been struggling.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a lot on his shoulders.
Yeah.
A lot on his shoulders. I like the Virgil rocking the Ronaldinho. Very dope. Oh man. I'm just wondering what you thought about if you're as confident in our future as maybe maybe we need to do something or not. Uh, I have faith that Jeremy Jacquet is going to do well. But it's just a lot. It's a lot to ask of him so early. That's the main reason why I'm saying it in that nature. It's a lot to ask. Kanza, he has experience in his price and the price tag, says Abdul. You like Kanza?
He's decent, but not for me. Good player, but just not for me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can. You want to go to the executive lounge? I can go there. You can go there. There you go. Hold on. Or at least the hospitality lounge. I can get there. I have that too. Thought I did. Thought I had it on here. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I'm pretty confident that we can do well with them. It's just a matter of it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be asking a lot of them. That's all. And I don't know if it's fair because you might have a situation where we saw what happened with Kirkez in a role that I think is even less, determinant on you hitting the ground running as opposed to center half. You got to hit the ground running. There's very little learning curve when it comes to a center half. But all good. All Gucci. Let me continue on. One other thing. Hold on a second.
Cool.
Okay. I thought that was someone asking me a question from behind there. What does success look for you this season? Coming off the season that we just came off of, what does success look like for you?
That's easy. In my head, I mean, it's the answer that all of us would say: winning the league, winning the Champions League, and that's it. That's fine. Or winning it all, having all the belts. God damn it, all the belts.
Mhm.
But in realistic terms, of the top three and the cup will be a good season for him to build. And then the following season, we go all guns blazing for that league. I don't care what it takes, whoever we have to get. I don't care whoever other teams buy. But the season after, we go all guns blazing for that league. But realistically, I think top three and the cup will be a good season to the stepping stone for Iraola.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Top three.
Yeah.
No, does any silverware associated with that or no?
Yeah, silverware. Yeah, like a trophy to go along with that.
So we got to be top three and have like a League Cup in top three. Is that a successful season for you?
Yeah, that's a good season, but I want the FA Cup more because we won the League Cup enough times, and I like the FA Cup. So
Okay.
I would want the FA Cup, and but that'd be a good season. Yeah, that'd definitely be a good season.
Okay. See if anyone else is weighing in on what we have to say. I would be surprised if we don't sign anyone else as beans on toast. Abdul says a Caribou Cup, an FA Cup, and top four, maybe. Wow. So we do a domestic double and top four is good for you. Oh no, I want to see us win silver, obviously, but I'd like to see us also not have to play Virgil and you know and I would also like to see this season as being the make or break for Marmardashvili. Marmardashvili has to make an emergence as not only understanding what it takes to be in the Premier League, but he has to solidify himself as being a capable choice in net for us going forward. If this is going to be Ali's last season with us, he has to do it. And what I mean by that, reason why I bring that up that way is because then Marmardashvili, for me, will have to. I would like to see Marmardashvili be the primary goalkeeper in the League Cup and in the FA Cup. Those two tournaments should be his. The same way they were for Kelleher, they should be his tournaments to make or break him. And I think that would be important for him to do. Make this emergence for that way. But anything on your mind, Nalante, that you want to talk about? Oh, I see her on mute, so maybe he's dealing with something. I think he is looking some stuff up. South Asian Scousers thinks that we get 3, maybe 4 signings in, but it will drag out all the way to the season start. I think we'll get not only 2 more signings, but I also think that we're going to possibly see possibly another player sold. I think we might see another player sold, unfortunately. Like I was saying, is there anything on your mind that you want to talk about, or anything that you're thinking of?
At the moment, not really. I mean, actually, let me ask this quickly. We'll get ready to go to work. Well, yourself, 12 in the chat. Who who would you guys? I mean that JK is a horrible person, isn't it, chat? I mean, obviously that JK, what a horrible piece of work he is. Oh, JK, how you doing, mate? Good to see
Easy,
you, mate.
bro.
Yeah.
What you saying, man? I hope you're cool, bro, and 12 as
Yeah,
well. And everyone in the chat.
yeah. We say JK.
I'm cool, bro.
I was gonna say JK. I was just saying before you came in to yourself, 12 in the chat, because I was speaking to the Irishman's group. Who would you say what out of the two? Who do you want, Nico Williams or Bradley Barcola? Now I'll start off first. For me, Barcola's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a bit overrated. Nico Williams still he's got to improve, but I think he gives us more width. He gives us more dribbling ability, and he's more better. And for me, I think he's better all around, personally, than Barcola.
Yeah, you want to answer 12?
No, go ahead. You can answer first.
Yeah, I'm probably the same as you, Nolante. I like Nico Williams. He's a bit more jumpy,
Yeah.
bit more energy. I don't know. Barcola for me, because he hasn't really played regular football. We can't really say he's this type of guy. You know what I mean? He finished a few goals in the World Cup. He actually got more game time than Nico Williams did. In the Euros, Nico Williams smashed it because it was in Germany. I watched a few of his games and he did well. So I like him age-wise, 24, sorted. Price-wise, he's going to be definitely cheaper than Barcola. It's all about that contract. He's got a long contract. I remember 12 was saying the other day. And that's just probably the major problem with that one. And bless up, KJ. Good to see you, man. South Asian Scouser, Lee Wiskid, Abdul, Red Armchair as well. Hope you all guys. Yeah, so I'll probably go with Williams with you. Same as you, bro.
Oh, thanks.
So you're asking who do I rate more, or who would I think is a better fit for the team? Because I think that's sometimes different. Those are two different questions, I think.
You could do it for both.
I think that Barcola is possibly the better player, but I think that Nico is possibly the better fit for our team. But I also, unfortunately, I know, like JK said, Nico unfortunately has a contract that is absolutely ridiculous. I think here, I'll pull it up. I'll pull up this thing because I think he's making some. I know he's signed until he makes what is the equivalent of 330,000 euros to pounds?
About 290, 280 grand a week.
Let's call it 300 then, right? Let's just call it 300. Make it easy. Because if he's come to another team, he's going to want to. He's not taking a pay cut, or he's not coming to another team and taking possibly the same salary. He's going to take some type of an increase. So he makes 330,000 euros a week until 2035.
Hence why he might think, you know what? I like it here. It's nice. The weather's nice. I'll stay here.
Yeah.
You get me? So, because I heard there's teams that have been after him, but he's never really.
He's turned down. You'd think he's turned down Barcelona.
Oh, we didn't really turn down Barcelona. I think they just messed it up. They just took him for a ride. That's what happened. He's willing to go.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a whole registration.
But then wages are keeping him cozy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a release clause of 100. I mean, surprisingly, he doesn't have like some Real Madrid release clause. Okay. Because Real Madrid's release clauses, some of them are like $500 million or something ridiculous. You know?
Spanish bosses, yeah.
But his release clause is 100 million euros.
88, 83. About 88
So, yeah.
million pound, yeah.
Yeah,
Still a
about
lot though, you know what I mean? What's he done
But-
really? Like, yeah, he's won the Euros, the World Cup, but it's the
Well, I was gonna say
pricing
my
of these
point
players,
is
man. Crazy.
he's that's the same amount of money that we reportedly offered to around the same amount of money that we offered to PSG for Barcola. There's a report that said that we offered them 80 some million dollars, 86 million or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which would equal whatever it is it ends up being like 100 million euros basically. So we offered them.
That's the crazy pricing of football players nowadays.
Mhm.
Good players, don't get me wrong, but the price wise, it's always the smaller clubs that put a big price on these players, man. That's their money maker, you know what I mean? So look, we need 2 wingers. And there was new links with that Monaco player as well today. You know what I mean? Everyone's just chucking fucking names in. Yeah, we're after this guy now, this guy. You know, we're back for Dear Monday. That's another one I heard today. Yeah, so whatever happened with that Dear Monday sort of deal, we don't know because we might not even bid for him. You know, people just saying we're after him. But is it official? Did we really put a bid in for him? Like, but no one really knows. So, like I said before, I just like seeing the player go to the Liverpool Twitter page, official page. When they've said we've signed that player, I'm happy days, you know. Speculation is interesting. Back in the days, it was interesting, speculation. Nowadays, because there's so many people writing speculation because they want to be recognized as someone who knows everything, it's sort of fucking annoying, you know. In the old days, it was just sort of guys who work for newspapers who would put that speculation in the newspaper, and the newspapers were like 3 pages worth of sports. It ain't like the internet where you can write all fucking day. You know what I mean? So they had to get it right, and that was good. I like them days. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just everyone just thinking, you know what? I'll just write that, see if I get any attention out of it. Next day he's got 100,000 followers. So yeah, man.
8 times.
Yeah, they the guy plays. He's French, isn't he?
Yeah. He's in the squad. I think he played one. I think he played one game.
Yeah.
Came on. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Big up. There you go. Yeah. Yes, you got family supporting you, brother.
Oh, go on, Cosmic. Bless up, bro. Well, go on. Should be a journalist for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, that's the guy, Ekaluche from Monaco. Yeah.
Do you rate him? Do you think that
I haven't seen enough of him, bro. I'll tell you the truth. I know he plays on the right though.
He does. He's a left footer. Let's see if I can find a price for you.
If he's a left footer, I'm sticking him on the left hand. Like, get them crosses in.
I agree with you, bro. I've been talking that up. Been talking up that angle. Crazy. People look at me sideways when I say that. All right. He does not have a release clause, and the asking price is that in? So that's like 45 million. That's like right in their ball. 40 million euros. That's right around his ballpark. Now he's a hot commodity. It'll probably be close to 70. But
no, I just thought PSG, that deal was wrapped up for him. Yeah, so that's a bit funny that all of a sudden we've sort of getting in there.
For
the Monaco lad, yeah.
The Monaco lad.
Mm-hmm.
So 34 to 51 million.
That sound. Just depends if he's good enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I just don't know if I just don't see why just don't see why anyone would want to spend. I mean, that's not a bad price considering the way the market is. But I mean, I just don't know if he is even worth that. Usually when the price we see now, it's just times two. It's like whatever he's really worth, whatever he's worth, is divided in half, and that's probably the real value. But for what the market's saying, it's double that. That's what is.
Look, man, there's
34 million to 51 million. Jeez, it's big too.
Sarr from Crystal Palace. That's a name. I reckon he's quality. Premier League proven. Played pretty well at the World Cup. I'm not sure his age exactly. But if he's about 26, 27, then I'll take him for 2 years. He'll do a job, bro. Take him on one side and take Williams or Barcola on the left. Job done. Let's move on. I've always like that, Sarr. He's a good little player, man.
Who's the player?
Ismail Sarr from Palace.
Oh, Sarr. Yes. Ismail Sarr. Yeah. We were going to get him when he was with Watford. Yeah.
Well, Watford. Yeah. You always had sort of an interest in him, haven't you? I think he's done pretty well. He's a good player.
He was also like wasn't I think he scored to break up our invincible season, or to break up an invincible charge. I think he scored in that game.
Yeah, he scored twice, 3-0. I remember that. 3-0.
What do you reckon him, Lante? Would you take him?
Yeah, every day of the week, I'll take him.
I'll
take it, man. Yeah, good play, man. Play both sides through the middle, yeah. And even though Barcola is a better player, well, some will say, I'll take him over Barcola.
Okay.
Fair.
Do you know his age there? 12th, if you can find out. Do you know?
Oh, Ismail Sarr.
Yeah. If he's about 26, man, that'll be a sound age. Get him in,
he's
man.
26. He's 20. He's 28.
28. Sound 2 years in him, job done. Depends on what you want to put, how much they want for him. Considering he's probably their best player. It's
reportedly that Crystal Palace want anywhere from. They're looking at 50 to 53 million euros. So
Europe? 45 million pound. That's a no-brainer for me.
And he's got a contract that goes until 2029. I don't think he has a release clause.
Okay. But the thing is, when you look at that, okay, or would you go for the Bournemouth lad, the Brazilian winger, who's 19, by putting an extra 30 million on top of that, what you pay for Sarr? You can look at it like that. Age-wise, much younger, 19. But Sarr is definitely, for me, an option. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out.
Graham Rodgers.
That's what's up. He's from Liverpool.
Oh, bless up, man.
Welcome.
Good to hope you enjoy the show.
Hope you enjoy the show. Hope that you become a regular here. We all I like Thailand. Friend. We have a friend of the channel that is living in Thailand. That has his own channel, but he is from Thailand. Bournemouth want $100 million for Ryan. Yes,
that's the thing.
Yes, they do. They're trying to get paid, or they know they have a commodity. And I don't know if paying $100 million for a player that's had a good 6 months of a surgeons is worth it. at a different price, yeah, like maybe 60 million. Sure, okay. There's definitely enough talent that you could take a gamble at 50, 60 million. But 100 million, that's a lot to
Yeah, that's
put
not a
on.
gamble. That's a joke.
That's an investment. Yeah.
Like, come on, you know what I mean? Bournemouth, you can't expect to get that. I can't see anyone paying that. But look, they should look at it like this. I don't know how much they paid for him. Do you know offhand? So even if they paid 20 million, let's say they paid 20 million for him. That's like putting 20 million into the bank, and in 6 months you're getting 100 million. There you go. So that's how I would look at that one, because you don't know how he can go downhill from here. He's 19. You know what I mean? He ain't sort of an established football player in the world yet. So he can go either way. So if I was in charge of Bournemouth, this lad wouldn't probably ever reach higher than 100 million unless he's smashing like 30 goals a season or 20 goals a season or whatever. Yeah, then his price can go up to 140, 150. But for me, when a guy's come in and they're bought him for, say, 20 million and he's worth 100 in 6 months, I'm selling him, bro. If you're at that club, like Bournemouth level, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Hold on, I was just answering a statement in the chat from Graham. Graham asked a question, so I'll bring it up for you guys too. This was his original statement.
Okay.
Graham says he really stayed loyal to Slot, but now he's gone. It was obviously the right thing to do. We won the league. I thought he would build on Klopp's success, like Paisley built on Shankly's, but that wasn't the case. No.
Yeah, I think what it was, like the traditional Liverpool fan, they don't go and put their dirty washing on the line like a lot of content creators who do that. And especially us guys, like at the end of the day, it got to the point where even us guys who don't really moan like a lot of people do, we were like, this can't carry on. And I think we enjoyed the World Cup more because we knew Slot was already gone and Iraola's in. Hence why we could relax. Imagine Slot was still in charge all over this summer break. It would have been a mess. We wouldn't watch any of the football matches. It would have been horrible. So
it would have been, and especially with all the amount of actual sales that we've had or purchases that we've had, I don't think that it would have been an ugly settings, considering that it would have been just talks of we haven't done much to upgrade or take care of whatever we needed to take care of to get to what Slot needed to quote unquote make him more successful, or what he wanted to make himself more successful with this team. We've only brought in really one player. I don't think it would have been all this talk about.
Yeah, it would have been a waste. Because for me, when you had that caliber of player, what he started with, Ekatike, Wirtz, Kirkes, all top players, even Frimpong, and you've gone worse than you did the season before. Something was not right there for me, and I think a lot's got to do with what's going on in the head of a manager. Do you think he's Tommy Two Shoes? He can walk around like he's the man. Yeah, of course, you can be a bit chuffed that you won the league for a season. Bang, respect. And like Lee Whiskey said there, I think a lot of fans will remember him for that.
Yeah, I think if anything, ultimately, I did. It was just a tongue-in-cheek style statement that I put in the chat. But I mean, like I think that he. Red and orange are on the same spectrum. They're very close in the spectrum, right? You go from yellow, I think, to orange, then to red, right? But I always thought that when in being a red, I think he was always really, truly more orange than red. Just simply like that. Put it that way. That's a compliment. That's still a compliment.
Yeah. Listen, guys, I'm sorry, just to cut. I'm gonna head off now because I'm just on my way to work anyway.
Wrap up. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up
here
here anyway.
Yeah,
Big up, Nate. Big up for joining us. Have a great night at work.
yeah, nice one. Nice one. And
Sorted,
just the
Nate.
last, yeah, nice one, JK. We'll speak. But big up everyone in the chat as always, man. Blessings to all. Go like, share, subscribe. Trust me, big things are going. Big things are going. Peace out, boys. Peace out,
Peace
everyone
out.
in the chat.
Peace out.
Peace.
Safe travels. Yeah, JK, we're gonna wrap up here. Yeah, Donald Trump is definitely more orange than red. I agree with that one too. Even though he was trying to be a red. He's trying to be, or if you want to say red, meaning for España. He's trying.
Bro, you know what? You don't kill
Did you
me
see what
when
they did? Did you see what Spain did to the photo?
no, what,
They
like deleted him.
they took him out of the photo.
Oh damn! He was standing on the right hand side, weren't he? Like
I know.
you know, like back in the
I
days
know.
when you watch any captain pick up a World Cup, it's just him on his own. Like there's no one
Yeah.
around him. And what it was,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
in the FIFA boss, he went one way and Trump went the other, and Trump was sort of trying to hang around, like I want to be a part of this picture, like sort of thing. You know what I mean? It was too funny. Like you got to leave
Yeah.
the players to themselves. You don't have no presidents or FIFA
He
presidents or
tried to.
anyone in the picture.
He tried to. He kind of tried, like half-heartedly, to kind of like usher him off, but he does know that that's the president. It's not like it's some regular person, you know.
Mhm.
So like he kind of like half-heartedly said, "Come on this way," you know, like
Yeah.
go this way. And Trump was like, I think he gave a thumbs up, like, yeah, I'll stay right here.
Because Trump's not used to like football, soccer. He's not, because that's the traditional way to do football. You just move to the side, don't
Yeah,
you? You weren't used to it. Like it was too. But he actually was there when he lifted it. He was there on the side.
yeah, that's funny. I was like,
That
this
made me laugh,
guy,
man.
oh my goodness.
He always
All
has
right,
to be part of the picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he always wants to be center of attention.
Mhm.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap up here. It's been a long morning. I've got a very long afternoon ahead of me, so I definitely want to say thank you to Nolante, who joined me earlier. I want to say thank you to JK for dropping in when he had the opportunity to do so as well. And I especially want to say thank you to those in the chat. You guys kept the numbers up, and you kept the conversation definitely brisk and correct and informative too. I like the fact that we have one of the best chats when it comes to not only decorum amongst each other, but I just think as in like the amount of like football IQ that is amongst our chat is definitely will rival any other chat. Some of the other chats I go into, you have like kids, or you have like this, or I wouldn't say even kids. No, if they're all being young, but it's more of like immature like settings when it comes to the interactions and when it comes to the comments and them trying to inject any bit of forward motion when it comes to a conversation. So I definitely appreciate everyone in the chat that that included themselves in our conversation as well. So big up to you. You're always
for
welcome.
me, I'll second that, bro. Because like for me, but back in the days when the internet was created, that was my sort of philosophy of the internet. It's so you have shows like the way we do it, where you can say anything like "Sar, we should go for Sar," and even if you don't agree with it on our chat, they will say it in a way where you're like, "Bro, yeah, not for me." Where other chats, bro, I've seen shows where man's said something and they've jumped on him like he's just said, I don't know, the worst thing in the world. Come on.
Yeah, like he had aggrieved their family or something like that. And you're just like
bro,
this guy. Yeah.
So for me, it's all about our chat. Like that's the way the vibe should be, and it's the best chat out there, man, for real.
Yeah. Shout out to everyone out there. If you're watching this on the replay, big up to you. If you're watching this on X, come join us you can come join us on YouTube. At least hit a subscribe on YouTube so you know when we go live. I know that way you can interact with the chat a little bit easier. But if you do want to hang out on X and you don't want to come over onto YouTube, fine. Still, interact with, put your comments in on X. I can always include them in the conversation. I keep an eye on that. It tells me whether it's YouTube or X when the comment comes in. So I'll include your comments and I'll make sure that they get included in the conversation, because I know that our numbers are normally 2, 3, sometimes 4 times higher on Twitter or X than sometimes our numbers on YouTube. So so I would definitely appreciate if you guys did that. But all the same, I want to say big up to everyone. I don't have a moment of Red Zen, but definitely appreciate that, Cedric. Definitely shout out to Cedric as well. Hope that you're doing well.
Oh, bless up, Cedric, man.
He's probably working or something, getting those dollar bills in.
Bless
So
up, Cedric, man. Good to see you. And thanks for the kind words in the chat as well, man. Graham as
Yeah,
well, who we ain't seen before. Nice one, man.
yeah. Hopefully we see Graham again. See you tomorrow, everyone. All right. Until tomorrow, definitely up the Reds as always. And we will be back tomorrow. And yeah. All right. Peace out, and we'll see you soon. Take care.